an opportunity. So what opportunities can we achieve, and are we achieving them? L is leadership and participation. So I would mow that yard before I asked somebody to mow it. I don't want to do everything. I wouldn't sign anything I wouldn't do, but I try to have leadership there. T is a tailored presentation. That's kind of how you look, but also how the establishment looks. Is there dust bunnies growing anywhere? Is the music too loud? What kind of music? Is it too hot, too cold? But I try to sit in different places at Rancho Roaster and look around. We got these massage chairs now, which are 5 minutes. We sit 5 minutes. It's interesting that your eye sees for 5 minutes, and maybe that picture's crooked, maybe this is there, and you find things. But we're pretty busy in the morning, and then when we have idle time, I think about that tailored presentation. It's really easy for me to make a mess. I roast, I cut bags, and then sometimes I look back and I go, gosh, they might not know that I just did that. They might think that I just leave it like that. So I go and tidy up and clean it. And then the S and the malts is smiles and sincerity. So I always just try to have a smile and be sincere about everything I say. So those are my acronyms for the brewery that I made up. But I use those in the coffee too. So those are kind of my guidelines.
Thank you. Is there any other questions from y'all? Anyone?
Got a question. What's that 117232 on the bag on the front here?
Oh, okay. So these are, so when you go to the farms, basically you have lots. So this is kind of like a vineyard. So like at a winery, say like Beckert, they have acres here in Gillespie County. They have acres outside of Gillespie County. They have, like say, a Lost Draw. They buy grapes from other Texas vineyards. So this will basically tell you, like these Antigua, Guatemala, and basically everything's broken down by a lot, acres, bags. So that would kind of identify it for that farmer. So like the gentleman who would, he has all the, he'll sell me from the pocket, one of each pocket. It'll tell him when they're bagging it, does it come from the bottom of the mountain, the middle of the mountain, top of the mountain?
Trace it back.
You can trace, yeah. So you know exactly where it came from. Yes?
Tell us about the cup score. How does a field beans get a cup score?
Well, you can, so there's a certificate. You can do it in wines, beers, and coffee. And you can get certified. Basically allows you to judge. And then you will, there's aroma that you're looking for, a color that you're looking for, a flavor that you're looking for, and there's attributes in beans. So beans roasted or beans harvested in different parts of the world are going to taste different. So you want the historical correct attributes for that origin, and then they'll couple and they'll set that score, and that score can't be changed. But what some roasters will do, if they have somebody that's certified within their business, a lot of times they recup everything they get, and they'll show you the both. They'll show you the harvest cup score, and then what they cup it at. And sometimes they might agree, sometimes they might be less, sometimes they might be more. And I use Atlas out of Seattle a lot, and they have a local, he used to be a roaster, and now he buys beans, and it's fun to talk to him because we both roast, and he cups. And I used to score beers, but it's very similar to coffee and certified. And he rescores everything. So when we talk, and he'll say, I got these. I got a cup score 90, but I gave them an 89. This is the reason I did. I gave them a 91. I was a little higher, or spot on. But why? Was it because of it's just like Kenya has an orange pill? Was it no orange pill? Not enough orange pill. Tanzania's got like lemon zest. Was there no lemon zest? Not enough lemon zest. But yeah, they get scored.
Anyone else?
Explain the difference between full roast,
Okay.
roast, and the.
So this is two that I do all year long. The beans might change, but the roast I keep, it's a full city and a dark roast. And when you do a full city, the beans, they crack twice. So a full city can be just shy of that second crack, right at that second crack, about 15 seconds into that second crack. And about every 15 to 20 seconds, you're going to move into a whole new roast profile. So you have like a breakfast roast, you have a city roast, a full city roast, a Vienna roast, a dark roast, a French roast, but you're always kind of moving on. So on the full city, just personally, I like it bright and fruity, and Texas is kind of hot, so it's a lighter coffee, and it's fun one to smell, and it's a fun one to sip. So our full city is on the lighter scale of a full city. The dark roast, we're going to let the sugars and the beans caramelize. So when the beans are cracking, and what you're doing when you're roasting, we call it a roast profile. So you have your time and your temp. So you have so each time I get a new harvest, I pull out my roast log sheets, and then I'm going to roast it just like I did last year. And then I'm going to make tweak it because it's going to be slightly different this year. But when you're roasting, you call it an S curve. So we'll use this. So this was my graph here, and you have your temp on this side, you have your time here. So you bring the temp up on your roaster, you put in your beans at room temperature, and it's going to bring the temp of the roaster down. And at a minute and a half, 90 seconds, they call that the bottom temp. So this is the beginning of that S curve because it kind of curved down, and now you're going to come up. And then the goal is at the end of the roast that you kind of taper to it. So that would be your S. And what you don't want to have is anything like a V shape. You wouldn't want to have a bean come here and spike through because you wouldn't have bean development. And what you're going to have on this S curve is a first crack, and you're going to have a second crack. So what we do on our dark roast, we're going to coast at the end of that S curve at that time and temp. And then I'm just using the energy now from the beans. They're going to exert their own energy. And then we go a certain time. I go a minute and 45 seconds into that roast. And then for each roast I do, I have a different amount of pounds I use. So for the full city, a lot of times I do 15 pounds at a time. I'm using the weight of 15 pounds to create my S curve. On the dark roast, I'm using 10 pounds at a time to create my S curve. And then you have a timer, so you're looking at your time, your temp, and then how many seconds you're going into that roast. So our dark roast is it's going to have some chocolate, some caramel, and maybe just sometimes you call it tobacco, just a hint of it. And I like these two coffees because I like coffee with moods. So if it's rainy, the winter time, it's cold, it's something about a dark roast just goes with that mood. If it's hot, I like the lighter roast. If it's a Sunday morning, I like a pea berry. It's kind of like the Pinot Noir of coffees. It's just got a real elegant nose, real elegant layers, and you sip it. Instead of I need caffeine. You don't just drink it, you enjoy it. Any other question? Right? I know you have one.
Well, I think most people not coming from a rural environment don't realize how much of a difference, like, for instance, grapes grown on one side of the road versus the other side of the road, the same way with the coffee beans, and like you were talking about the difference even from the bottom of the tree to the top of the tree. And something that everybody's going, well, that doesn't taste quite the same as it did. Well, from one year to the next, you've got different weather patterns that you're having to deal with, and all of that.
That's right. So let's say, so on my roast profile for my full city, at a certain time and temp, I like my roast at 14 minutes. So if it's 14 minutes and shy 2 seconds, I will tweak my roast to get it to 14 minutes. If it goes 5 seconds past my 14 minutes, I will tweak my roast to get it back, because that's my sweet spot. So to answer your question, it's different each year. So once you dial it in, usually the beans that you're roasting, just like clockwork, the container ship, that barge, you'll leave at point A, arrive at point B at 14 minutes, boom, do it again and again and again. Next year, I get the same beans from the same farm a year later, new harvest, and I do it in 15 seconds off. And that just could be, when you have a harvest, they'll lay them out, and they will dry those beans and to about 12-13% moisture content. So when you have new fresh beans that got moisture, and you use that moisture, the steam, when you're roasting, to kind of help roast the beans. Because when you're roasting, you do not want to roast from the outside inside. You want to roast from the inside out. So that way you don't get any gradient colors. It's just a nice solid color. But you have to do that. And once I pull out my roast profile, I see what I did last year, and then I make the changes for the new year, and I leave it at that. But beans are different. You have, there's not one way to roast coffee. So this is one way we do it. We buy single origin. I have a certain time and temp that I look for my beans. But I'm roaster A, roaster B might not want to do what I do at all. They might want to buy the cheapest coffee that they can get. And they might want to sell more bangs for the bucks. That's what they do. They do the best they can, but lower more value or something. But roaster C might want to do what roaster B is doing, but charge you a high price and just have a huge profit margin. Roaster D might say, you know what, I'll buy a little bit of this high end and I'm going to cut it with a little bit of this low end to create our brand. And then also what you can do, they call it past crop. So when a harvest is lapsed, if there's any beans left from that farm, that's past crop, and that's prices are reduced in some roasters. That's all they're calling all the time. Can I get a past crop? Do you have any past crop? I'll take everything you have. All they want is past crop. And what happens with a past crop, in a year, the moisture content will get down to about, say, 9 to 8%, and it's going to speed up on that roast. So it's going to be a lot different. So you would have to really work on your roast profile because it's drier, and you would have to stop it from speeding up on its roast. These are burlap bags, and beans that sit in a bag for a year can give a kind of cardboard taste. That's that burlap. So the beans kind of get infused. Sometimes they'll line these with plastic, and you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, you always, each year, you would have to tweak your roast profile.
Well, thank you so much.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
I want to know about brewing. What's your favorite way to brew? I mean, at home. Like pour over or cold brew?
Oh, that's okay. That's a great question. So when you roast coffee, and so I did some fresh roast today, we could take this roast right here and change it different grind levels, and it will taste completely different from each batch. We could use different equipment, and it will taste different on each batch. So at home, I like using the Chemex. Are you familiar with the Chemex? So Chemex, it's kind of like this, and I could have brought one. It's kind of a beaker, and you put a cone-shaped filter in there, and you do a French press grind, just like you would do for a French press. On a French press, you take your boiling water off your stove top, you feed it, you let it set for 4 minutes, then you press it, and you have your coffee. But now you have to clean it off. And my wife and I, between the two of us, we always break it. Either we break the actual container or break the stem on the presser, and then you buy a new one, a different brand, a different shape, a different size, and you have to dial it all back in the way you did it, how much grounds, how much hot water. But on the Chemex, it's just like that without the mess. And what you have is this cone-shaped filter, and it's a cone all the way to the end. It's a point. So you want a coarse grind, because if you have a fine grind, it kind of dams up at the bottom. And with all coffees, what you want is a nice relationship, a flow. It's that relationship with the hot water, with the beans, and you're pulling out the solubles. But if it rests too long, you pull out a lot more of the oils, and that's where you get a lot of the bitterness. So at home, I like to use a Chemex for my coffee. At the shop, I have a traditional bun coffee maker, because I want to be kind of my control what other people maybe have at home, because not everybody would have a Chemex, but a lot of people have a Mr. Coffee or some type of coffee maker, and it's a finer grind. So I'm always doing that at the shop, because I want to know what the coffee is going to taste like when it goes to somebody's house, because I know what it tastes like at my home, but it might taste different at your home.
That's what I have a sense of use, and that is the thing that I am always trying to figure out is getting the right grind. And it's like a dirt, but it looks like a dirt.
Yeah, so on that one, that's very challenging, because on those type of grinders, you don't have any consistency. So you're going to get some of the really fine kind of powder, you're going to get some coarse parts. So on Amazon, you can get a burr grinder, and you can get them pretty cheap. And on a burr grinder, you're basically going to have two metal grinders, and you set the level of how close they are to each other, and the beans go in there, but that way you have this consistent grind that comes out. Where the one that you burr grinder. Burr with a B, burr grinder. And a burr grinder, you get a nice one for $99, and you can set your grind level and it'll be consistent. But the one that you're going to end up with a lot of fine.
Right.
And then you're going to clog up, so that wouldn't work on, say, on a French press, because what happens is you'll get that murkiness in your coffee, you get a lot of residual in your coffee. If you get the Chemex, it's going to clog up on the bottom of your filter. So it's kind of nice, I think.
Spell that for me, Bert.
I believe it's B-U-R-R, burr grind.
B-U-R-R, okay. And then what about cold brew? That seems to be the popular.
So cold brew, yeah, cold brew is really nice. I really like cold brew. So cold brew, it's a way to extract the caffeine from the bean using a cold method. So everything we've been talking about so far is a hot method. And on a hot method, it's a small window that you're extracting the caffeine, but you're also extracting the oils. On a cold brew, you're usually 24 hours longer, and you're steeping the coffee. And you steep out the caffeine, but the cold water does not steep out the oils. And so what you end up is a very nice, low acidic coffee, and you end up with a concentrate. So if you have, you did